Right now, millions of people are experiencing a new form of mental illness that didn't exist 50 years ago. It's not in any traditional psychology textbook. It's not officially recognized by most doctors. Yet it's quietly destroying lives across every continent. The symptoms? Panic attacks triggered by weather reports. Sleepless nights from thinking about polar ice caps. Depression so severe that young people are choosing not to have children. Welcome to climate anxiety, the psychological epidemic that's rewiring human consciousness. To understand this phenomenon, we need to dive into the deepest parts of human psychology. Our brains evolved over millions of years to respond to immediate, local threats. A predator in the bushes. A storm on the horizon. Fire approaching the cave. But climate change presents something entirely different, a global, abstract, long-term threat that our ancient neural circuit simply cannot process correctly. The numbers are staggering. Recent studies show that 68% of young adults report climate-related anxiety. Emergency rooms are seeing a 25% increase in panic attacks during extreme weather events. Suicide rates spiked during heat waves. In Australia, after the devastating bushfires, mental health admissions increased by 40%. This isn't just sadness about the environment, it's a complete neurological hijacking. History shows us this pattern before. During the Little Ice Age from 1300 to 1700, crop failures and harsh winters triggered mass psychological responses. Witch hunts exploded across Europe. Apocalyptic religious movements gained millions of followers. Art became obsessed with death and suffering. Entire societies developed collective paranoia about the end times. Sound familiar? Here's what's happening inside your brain when you read climate news. The amygdala, your fear center, activates immediately. But unlike a bear attack, there's no clear action to take. No fight or flight response that resolves the threat. So your nervous system gets stuck in permanent activation. Cortisol floods your bloodstream. Sleep patterns collapse. Decision-making becomes impossible. You're essentially living in a state of chronic trauma response. Religious communities are responding in fascinating ways. Some evangelical groups see climate disasters as biblical prophecy fulfilled, the birth pangs of the end times. Others embrace environmental stewardship as sacred duty. Buddhism focuses on interconnectedness and reducing consumption. Indigenous traditions, which never separated human psychology from natural cycles, offer ancient wisdom about living with environmental uncertainty. The weather literally changes your brain chemistry. When barometric pressure drops before storms, serotonin levels plummet. Extended heat waves reduce cognitive function by up to 13%. Seasonal affective disorder affects 10 million Americans annually. Now imagine these effects magnified and made permanent by climate chaos. Your mood, your thoughts, your personality, all at the mercy of an increasingly unstable atmosphere. Different cultures show dramatically different psychological responses. Scandinavian countries, with strong social safety nets, report lower climate anxiety despite harsh environmental realities. Pacific Island nations facing extinction show remarkable psychological resilience through community bonds. Americans, with their individualistic culture, experience the highest rates of climate despair and isolation. The symptoms of climate anxiety are becoming more sophisticated. Phantom heat sensations during normal weather. Compulsive checking of weather apps and climate news. Agoraphobia triggered by outdoor air quality warnings. Some people develop what researchers call solastalgia, homesickness while still at home, as familiar landscapes change beyond recognition. The psychological impact isn't distributed equally. Children show the highest rates of climate nightmares and behavioral changes. Women report more climate anxiety than men, possibly due to evolutionary nurturing instincts. Low-income communities experience compound climate trauma, both environmental disasters and the stress of having no resources to adapt or escape. But there's hope emerging from unexpected places. Cognitive behavioral therapy adapted for climate anxiety shows promising results. Meditation practices reduce amygdala hyperactivity. Community action groups provide the sense of agency that individual brains desperately need. Some therapists are even prescribing climate action as medicine, because taking concrete steps literally rewires the brain away from helpless panic toward purposeful engagement. Climate anxiety reveals something profound about human nature. We're not just physical beings affected by environmental change. We're psychological creatures whose minds are intimately connected to the natural world. As our planet transforms, so do we. The question isn't whether climate change will affect human psychology, it already is. The question is whether we'll recognize this hidden epidemic and develop the mental tools to survive it. Because saving the planet might just require saving our minds first.